There's an old saying that art imitates life, and that cannot be more true nor accurate than in regards to this scene right here from an episode of one of my favorite shows back in the day, being The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, starring yours truly, Will Smith. And the reason why I want to react to this video in particular is because it encapsulates in real time the biggest issue by far that's plaguing our households and communities throughout Black America, that being the lack of fathers in the home. And so what happens is when you don't have fathers residing over the household, presiding over their wives and their children, what's going to happen is the wives are going to seek out other men, other men that, to be quite honest, many of them have had hiding in the background until they get tired of the man that they're with, on one hand, to the point where they do that. In some cases, where you have sisters hooking up with other women, right? Or in some cases, they become bisexual. And it's pretty much they want to just get involved in many other types of lifestyles, man. In regards to the children, particularly the sons, what happens is they get involved in gangs, they become gang members to the point they're involved in criminality with the likes of drive-by shootings, gang banging, to where they're killing innocent black men, women, children, even little toddlers, where they're selling drugs to their own people. And in regards to that, they're also failing in school. They're having an evil eye towards their own brother to the point they can't trust him. And they're struggling with illiteracy in regards to also financial, right? Economics. And that's for the men's side. And then for the young women, for the most part, they're teaching them to be hoes, thoughts, baddies, to where they're engaging in and embracing hookup culture, where they pretty much have their legs open for business for not just the men they're with again, but for other men to, and maybe even other women to dive into, man, to skeet up in. Right? These are things like this, man. These are the real issues that's plaguing our communities and households that nobody wants to address. Nobody. Even though it's as clear as day. And it's happening every day for the most part. Which is why it's somewhat laughable to when you have pro blacks and liberal blacks in particular who want to keep engaging in these racial conversations and also conversations about police brutality, which is not to say that they're not issues. They are, all right? But they're not even on the same level in regards to the other issues that I just mentioned, all right? Because they themselves are somewhat byproducts of those issues, of those problems, of those more so viruses that's killing us as a people from the inside out. The same way if you're a cancer patient, if you have cancer, right? If you don't have surgery to have that cancer removed, it's going to eat you alive from the inside out continuously and continuously until it just straight up kills you. Okay? So that's the condition of the battle. So now I wanted to just go ahead, want to get that out the way. I want to go ahead and just delve into this clip right here. Give my breakdown of it. And of course, chime in here and there with my commentary. So let's get it.
Lou, if you walk out of Will's life now, Don't you ever come back.
Sit down.
I ain't got time for no lecture.
I said sit down, Lou. You know, Will was doing just fine until you showed up. But now that you're back, you have responsibilities to him.
Look, we're still gonna take the trip.
Oh, bull! Bull! Will is not a coat that you hang in the closet, then pick it up when you're ready to wear it. His life goes on. He's not supposed to be here for you. You're supposed to be here for him.
You get off my back! You think I want this? It just happened! Now, when Will was a baby, I was scared.
Cut the crap, all right? Cut it. Because I've been there. But I didn't run out on my family. I was there every day for them because that's what a man does.
Fine, Philip.
Facts. As a man and as a father, you are supposed to be there in your children's life every single day. From the time that they're born to when they're able to walk, to when they graduate, and from that point on to where they get old enough to when they get married and they start their own family and everything else in between. That's what it means to be a father, and especially what it means to be a man. And on top of that, instead of just being there for your children, you also have to be able to instruct your children on how to maneuver in life, how to walk upright, what to do, what not to do. Give them understanding of who they are, right? Where they come from. Be able to fill them with self-esteem and self-respect. So that way they don't have to worry about feeling like they're inadequate, that they're quote unquote inferior, right? Where they feel like they don't have to keep feeling like they're another statistic that we see so much. All right? Be it whether you see it in real life or what you see on the big screen with examples like this.
You win. You the man. You a better man than me. You happy? Now, you gonna tell Will or not?
I'm not going to do your dirty work for you.
Fine. I'll call him from the road.
Yeah, then why don't you do that?
Yeah, I'll do that. Daddy out! What's up?
Uh-oh. Oh boy. You know, here comes the pivotal scene right here, man. And what's going to transpire in regards to the dialogue that takes place between Will and his father, as some of you already know, who's played by Ben Vereen. You're going to see firsthand why so many young black men are angry, right? Angry, full of resentment, strife, bitterness, all right, with emotions along that line. Because now they can, now you obviously you hear this so many times. We say things about like racism, bigotry, discrimination, um, the police force, cops overall, um, the system, how it's rigged and how it's against us, right? Many of the talking points that we hear often, which has validity in every single area, but those are most, for the most part, cover-ups for the real reason why. And obviously, the 800-pound elephant in the room that doesn't like to get addressed, that being the fact that their that the father, for the most part, walked out on them, and even worse than that, sold them out.
Will, I'm glad you're here. Some business came up I gotta handle. So we're gonna have to put our trip on hold. You understand?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Just for a couple of weeks.
I understand.
Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, whatever.
Look, I'll call you next week and we'll iron out the details. Okay?
Yeah.
It was great seeing you, son.
You too, Lou.
Wow, you see that? From my memory, I remember when I saw this episode when he first saw his father come back. Well, he was basically jovial, man. He was happy as hell, man. Please, he saw his father again. He actually thought in his mind they were actually going to spend some time together on their quote unquote trip, only to have it come back and basically be told to him that, for the most part, without him saying it, that he's going to walk out again, only this time never to come back, right? Or to return. And you see, examples like this shows why black men like this right here get no respect. All right? Because of the fact that it's one thing to put your seed out there in regards to laying down with a woman. It's one thing to make a baby, but it's another to raise it, all right, to nurture it, to see it grow and to see it prosper, all right? And so luckily, there are fathers out there, black men in particular. There are black men who are fathers and who are husbands, and they're wonderful at it, man. All right? And they get the respect from their wives, from their children, their families, their communities, and from the outside, be it from all other races of people. Okay? But when you have black men like this right here, who are, for the most part, making excuses as to why they were not around it, why? That for the most part, they're not going to get respect. All right? Because here's the thing: if for brothers like this who are complaining about how they're not respected overall, again, how can you expect to get any respect from the outside world, from these demographics that I just mentioned, when your own women and children don't respect you? All right? When in regards to the woman, like, for the most part, you try and play a game on them, to where if you're living with a woman, she has to take care of you for the most part. And you're not really contributing too much to the relationship. All right? And if you keep constantly fooling around on her with other women, she's not going to take you seriously. And it's because you see that you don't really care for her, man. Things like that. And the same in regards to the children. You can't expect your children to respect you when they see, like in this case, you just walk out on them because of the fact that you were quote unquote scared. Well, in that case, you should have thought about that before you impregnate that woman, before you decide to lay down with her or put a ring on her finger. All right? So that's why at the end of the day, again, if you want respect, you have to earn it. And how do you do that? By being a man, as what Uncle Phil stated. You have to be there for your children, all right? To coach them in life. You have to be the prime example. You have to be that role model for them, all right? And then once you, for the most part, take on that role, that's when the respect comes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Will.
You know what? Actually, this works out better for me. You know, the slimmies of summer come to class wearing next to nothing. You know what I'm
Will,
saying?
it's all right to be angry.
Hey, why should I be mad? I'm saying at least he said goodbye this time. I just wish I hadn't wasted my money buying this stupid present.
I'm sorry. If there was something that I
Hey,
could
you know
do.
what? You ain't got to do nothing, Uncle Phil. Hey, you know, ain't like I'm still 5 years old, you know? Ain't like I'm gonna be sitting up every night asking my mom, when's daddy coming home, you know? Who needs him? Hey, he wasn't there to teach me how to shoot my first basket, but I learned, didn't I? Hey, I got pretty damn good at it too, didn't I,
Yeah,
Uncle Phil?
you did.
Got through my first day without him, right? I learned how to drive. I learned how to shave. I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. To hell with him!
See that? That right there again, man, in a nutshell, shows again why so many young black men, so many cats out here, are straight up bitter, man. Straight up angry, resentful. It's because of the fact that they got abandoned at a young age by the one person that was supposed to be there for them the most. That's supposed to have their back, be in their corner. That being the father. And that's why, again, it goes back to the respect factor, man. You can't expect your son to just automatically like take you back in without you really showing that you're willing to take on that mantle, to take on the responsibilities of being a father. Because in this case, it seemed, because at first it seemed like they're ready to take on the responsibility, but then unfortunately, uh, in regards to Will's father, he showed his true colors. All right. That's why trust is a very powerful thing, man.
I ain't need him then and I don't need him now.
Will.
Nah, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna get a great job without him. I'm gonna marry me a beautiful honey, and I'm having me a whole bunch of kids. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids.
Absolutely, man. And you see, I remember seeing a clip of an episode of the Red Table Talk that featured Will, Jada, Jada's mother, and Willow all sitting at the red table, right? And where Will basically acknowledged and admitted that growing up, he saw his father punch his mother in the face. All right, that's what he said. And that along those lines, he didn't want any of that within the relationship between him and Jada. All right. Basically, if there was anything like that, if or not worse, then basically they couldn't be together. And I can respect Will for that, man, because that right there is it's that vicious cycle that we see often too much within the black community, man. Why in the world would you want your children to grow up in that same dysfunction that you yourself grew up in, right? And possibly that you saw that your grandparents grew up in, right? Why would you want that? But then again, you know, that's a bit of a hypothetical because of the fact that we lack a culture, man. We've been totally deculturalized here in America and throughout America, not just America, South America, and other parts of the world. All right. That's why at some point, man, the cycle has to be broken.
come you don't want me, man?
That right there shows you why that was definitely one of the most defining moments in television cinema history, right? And that was, it sounds a bit cliche, but that's when a star was born in regards to Will Smith and his career throughout the next 20 plus years up to the day. But I want to, answer the question in regards to how come his father didn't want him. Well, perhaps it's because, he wasn't ready to have you, bruh. And that's the case again. Why you have so many brothers out here who get careless when it comes to the women they're either dating or are married to, right? But particularly dating. You meet a girl, you like her, she likes you, right? You get to know each other more. You go out to the movies, you take her to a nice restaurant or so on your first date or so, right? You date and you be hooking it up for a couple of months, and then what happens? You want to try to lay down with her, and see that's a big mistake right there on our part as black men because we're you, you want that coochie so bad, man, that it clouds our judgment in regards to asking serious questions in regards to um, the woman's relationship history, right? Was she with any other man before you, right? And if so, how many? Because that's a big uh, pitfall right there, man. Because everybody knows that when a woman lays down with a man, be it multiple men, it obviously takes in all the semen, right? The sperm, to the point where she takes on the essence of each of those men's different personalities, right? And on top of that, some of them same men might still be in the picture, just on hold, right? In case when the current relationship doesn't work out, which it will at some point, does not work out anymore, especially because when it's too monogamous, too quote unquote boring along those lines. That's when for the most part the relationship goes downhill. Right. And that's why as a man, um, you have to make sure first and foremost you have to have three important things. Number one, a job, but more importantly, a business. Number two, transportation to get around, that being particularly a car. And number three, most important of all, have your own place. Okay, be it an apartment or an actual house you own that's already paid off. But either way, to make sure you're well off before you decide to get involved with a woman. Because she's going to be with you when you're at your peak, when you're first starting out, when you're going through the motions, right? When you're going through your journey. For the most part, she's really not going to want to be around. All right. And that's not just for women, but people in particular. Right? That's what they don't have in common. They want to be with you at the end when it's all said and done. All right. But through the journey, you'll very rarely come across people who want to go to that journey with you. All right. And even with that, that's a blessing in itself. That's a gem. That's a diamond in the rough. All right. So that's why it's important to really be on your P's and Q's in regards to where you want to go in your life, how you want to get there, and and who you want to have along you with for the ride. But anyway, that's it for this video. Just wanted to touch on it because it's not only relevant, but it's very, very close to home. Especially right now in the current year of 2023. Quote unquote 2023. So, that's a wrap. Peace.